Alright, so the next topic is writing and solving equations from word problems. So let's just jump right in. We've got this one, number 7, is about a cell phone plan. Trinity's cell phone company charges her $35 per month for phone service plus 50 cents for each text message. How many text messages does Trinity send in a month if her bill was $52? Okay, so the first thing that I've got to do is write an equation that's going to model this situation. And then I want to solve it in a way that my answer answers the question, how many text messages does she send in a month? Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is pick out what's my important information. I've got that they charge her $35, and I know that they charge her 50 cents as well. This is per month, and this is for each text message. So it's asking how much does she pay in a month. So I know this per month, even though it says per, which makes it seem like a rate, is actually not a rate because that's like the flat fee for the whole month. And we're looking at per text message as the rate of change. So what's changing her bill is how many texts she's sending. The $35 is kind of like the flat fee. And so we have 35 is something that she's going to pay once in this particular month. So we've got 35 is our constant. And then I know she's paying 50 cents per text. So I'm going to call it T. And T is going to represent number of texts that Trinity sends in that month. And so her bill, I'm going to represent B, is bill or total cost for the month. So then B equals 0.50 T plus 35. Okay, then it says solve the equation. When I solve it, that means I'm getting T by itself because I want to know how many texts she sent. So I know that her bill also was $52. So now I can replace B with 52. So this is actually 52 equals 0.50 T plus 35. So in order to get T by itself, first of all, the two things in my way of having T by itself are 0.50 and 35. And I'm going to deal with addition and subtraction first, then multiplication and division second. So I have 35 being added, so the opposite of that is to subtract 35. 52 minus 35 is 17. Bring down the 0.50 T because we haven't done anything with it. So 17 equals 0.50 T. I want to get T by itself. 0.50 is being attached by multiplication, so I have to divide. $17 divided by 0.5 is 34. Dividing by a half is the same thing as multiplying by 2, so double 17 is 34. Those cancel. T. And so in the context of the situation, this means that Trinity sent 34 text messages in that month. And so that's why her bill was $52. Okay. Moving on. A new 1-year tennis membership costs $160. It has a registration fee of $28, and the rest is paid monthly, and we don't know the monthly costs. Okay, so I want to write an equation that models this situation, and then I want to solve it to find out how much new members pay monthly. So it already tells me in the problem what my unknown is to find out how much they pay monthly. So I'm going to use M to represent this. M is how much new members pay monthly. So I know that the total cost is $160. And so whenever we see that word total, or we kind of infer that it's the total, that's going to be on the other side of the equal sign. So I know 160 equals whatever it is that's going to add up to give me that cost. I know that there's a fee of $28 that is paid once, and the rest is paid monthly. And so 28 is constant. And then here's the tricky part. I have M, how much they pay monthly. And you kind of have to read into this question and what it's asking, because the temptation would be, okay, 160 equals 28 plus M, because that's the recurring cost. But how often are they paying M dollars? And the answer is 12 times, because it's a 1-year membership paid monthly. And I know that there's 12 months in a year. So 160 equals 28 plus 12M. Now I can solve it the way that I would any multi-step equation. I'm going to write it down here so it's easy for us to solve it in one place. Alright, so now the two things in my way of having M by himself is 28 and 12. 28 is attached by addition, so I'm going to undo it with subtraction. Subtract 28 from both sides. 160 minus 28 is 132. These cancel, equals 12M. Now 12 is being attached to M by multiplication. In order to undo that, I'm going to divide both sides by 12. These cancel. 132 divided by 12 is 11. And so, to answer this question with a sentence and where it makes sense, is that new members are paying $11 monthly on top of that $28 registration fee. Alright. Next, we have HHS basketball team purchased equipment and uniforms for a total cost of $912. The equipment cost $612, and the uniforms were $25 each. How many uniforms did the school purchase? And so I already know what my unknown is because it's asking me a question. How many uniforms purchased? I'm just going to use X for this. So X is how many uniforms were purchased. What's my total cost? $912. And this is basically like my flat fee because I'm paying that once. That's what the equipment costs. And you only need the equipment once. What's recurring is the uniforms because you're buying multiple based on the number of people that there are. So that's $25 each. That keyword each gives away that it's a repeating value. I want to write the equation to model this situation. It's going to follow the same pattern that all of these do, which is, okay, I have a flat fee, and I have a recurring cost, and I have a total cost. So my total cost is going to be on this side of the equal sign. Everything else is what's adding up to give me that number. I'm paying $612 one time, and I'm paying $25 X times, because that's how many uniforms are being purchased. And I want to find out what X is using this equation. And so 912 equals 612 plus 25x. There's two things in my way of having x by itself. It's 612, which is being attached by addition, and 25, which is being attached by multiplication. So you'll remember that we deal with addition and subtraction first, and then we deal with multiplication and division second. So I'm going to deal with the 612 by doing the opposite of what's happening. So it's being added, the opposite of that is subtraction. Subtract 612 from both sides, and these cancel, and they made it pretty easy for us with the 12s. So now this is 300 equals 25x, and 25 is being attached by multiplication. I'm going to undo that with division in order to cancel those. X equals 300 divided by 25 is 12, which means that they are purchasing 12 uniforms. So that probably means there's 12 people on the basketball team, and they need 12 uniforms. So yeah, make sure you're always going back to the context of the problem and making sure that your answer makes sense. Because if I had gotten an answer like, 0.75, I would know I messed up somewhere, because there's no way that they're just ordering a fraction of a uniform for a whole team. So 12 makes sense to me. That means that they have 12 people on the team who still need a uniform. All right. So moving on, Cam's Coffee. Cam's Coffee Shop sells a refill mug for $8.95. Each refill costs $1.50. Last month, Sarah spent $26.95 on a mug and refills. How many refills did she buy? So, as always, I'm going to have a cost that I pay one time and a cost that I pay multiple times. And then that is going to add up to give me my total cost. So the person who's spending all this money is Sarah, and she has a total cost of $26.95. And her base fee, or the thing that she's paying one time, is for the mug, which is $8.95. And then here's this keyword each. Again, that lets me know that's going to be my recurring cost. So that's for refills, which is $1.50 each. So now set it up the same way as always. $26.95 equals $8.95 plus $1.50. Let's do R for refill. So R represents number of refills that Sarah buys. So now I'm going to come down here and solve it. $26.95 equals $8.95 plus $1.50. Two things are in my way. It's $8.95 and $1.50. I'm going to deal with the addition first, and so what's being added is $8.95. So the opposite of adding $8.95 is to subtract $8.95 from both sides. And so it's going to cancel on this side, and then $26.95 minus $8.95 is $18 equals $1.50 R. Now, $1.50 is being attached to R by multiplication, so I need to divide both sides by $1.50 in order to undo that. Those cancel. I'm left with R equals 18 divided by 1.5, which is 12, which means that Sarah bought 12 refills. So hopefully that's not in one day. That's a lot of coffee. But still makes sense in the context of the situation. Alright. So lastly, pool pass. TJ has a membership at a local pool. The membership costs him $60 for the whole summer, so that's going to be my base fee that I'm paying one time, plus $5 per guest. He wants to bring 4 guests, and he has $73. So how much more will he need to bring 4 guests? So this one is a little bit more involved. And you want to make sure that you're comfortable with this type of problem going into the test, because the questions are not always super straightforward, like write an equation for this and solve it, although sometimes it is. But sometimes they're looking for, can you go beyond that and understand a question that might be asked in real life, using those skills. So we're going to set it up first anyways, like we did in the last few questions. So I know that his base fee is $60, and he's paying $5 per guest. I'm gonna call that G, so G is number of guests. So I don't know what his total cost is. So let's see. Let's call that C, total cost. Since I don't know what it is, I'm going to represent it by a letter. So now I have 2 unknowns, G and C. But I actually do know what G is because it says that TJ wants to bring 4 guests. So now I'm going to replace G with 4. So now 60 plus 5 times 4, I know is 20, equals the total cost. And so 60 plus 20 is 80. So his total cost is 80. But that's not the answer to the question because it doesn't say how much is his total cost if he wants to bring 4 guests. It says TJ only has $73. So let's see. TJ has $73. How much more will he need to bring 4 guests? So basically, if he wants to spend $80 but he only has $73, how much more does he need in order to bring 4 guests? And so the answer is going to be 80 minus 73. So he needs $7. So TJ needs just $7 more if he wants to bring 4 guests to the pool. If this question doesn't make sense, spend some time with it. Rewatch this video just for this part, because you will need to understand how to solve this type of question that involves doing a difference at the end. So yeah, look over this and make sure you understand these as well, but these are a little bit more straightforward.